Welcome dear student and Jai Swaminarayan. In the previous video, we were understand the question 1 and 2 of the exercise of chapter number 2, unit and the measurement. Now, let us discuss the remaining question answer of the exercise of chapter number 2. Question number 3 of the exercise. A calorie is the unit of the heat or energy. The unit of heat or energy is a calorie and it is equal to about a 4.2 joule. Dear student, joule and calorie both are the unit of the energy. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule given, where joule is equal to 1 joule is equal to 1 kilogram meter square second raised to minus 2. So from this you get the 3 unit of the energy. First unit of the energy is calorie, second unit of the energy is joule, and third unit of the energy is kilogram meter square second raised to minus 2, right? So calorie is the unit of heat or energy and it is equal to 4.2 joule. So 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. Now suppose we employ a system of unit in which the unit of mass equal to alpha kg. Suppose we derive a new system of unit and in that we take the unit of mass equal to alpha kg, the unit of length equal to beta meter, and the unit of time is a gamma second, right? So suppose we consider a new system of unit where the unit of mass to be taken as a alpha kg, unit of length is taken as a beta kg, and unit of time is taken as a gamma second. Show that a calorie has a magnitude 4.2, alpha raised to minus 1, beta raised to minus 2, and gamma square in terms of the new unit, right? So here we derive the unit of the energy in a new system of unit. So dear student, here given that 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule, right? Calorie and joule both are the unit of the energy. So first of all, remember the dimensional formula of energy. What is the dimensional formula of energy? The dimensional formula of heat or energy is m1 L2 T minus 2. So here we use the first use of the dimensional analysis. What is the first use of the dimensional analysis? It is used to relate the unit of the different system of unit. So here we have a two system of unit. First one is the MKS system and new system we consider in that the mass is equal to alpha kg, unit of the length is equal to beta meter, and unit of time is a gamma second. So in a MKS, N1 is equal to 4.2 joule, right? The constant 1 energy is equal to heat energy is equal to 4.2 joule. So 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. So in a MKS system, we take a N1 is equal to 4.2 joule. We need to find what is the value of N2. In the MKS system, mass is equal to 1 kg. In a new system, we take a mass m2 is equal to alpha kg. In the MK system, length is equal to 1 meter. In the new system, we take a length L2 is equal to beta meter. In a MK system, time is taken as a 1 second, right? So in a new system, we take a time T2 is equal to gamma second, right? Now what is the relation? N2 into dimensional formula of energy is equal to N1 into dimensional formula of energy in a old system. So N2 is equal to M2 raised to 1, L1 raised to 1, 2 and T2 raised to minus 2. In a previous system, N1 into energy of dimensional formula of energy M1 L2 T minus 2. right? So what is the constant in the new system? N2 is equal to N1. If we take M2 on the other side, we get the M1 by M2 raised to 1, L1 by L2 raised to 2, and T1 by T2 raised to minus 2, right? If we take a M2, L2 and T2 on this side, right, on the right hand side, we get N1 is into M1 by M2 raised to 1, L1 by L2 raised to 2, and T1 by T2 raised to minus 2. Now here M2 is given, M1 is given to you 1 kg, so we put 1. M2 is equal to alpha kg, so we put alpha. L1 is equal to 1 and L2 is equal to beta. T1 is equal to 1 and T2 is equal to gamma. So if you put the values of M1, L1, T1, M2, L2, T2, we get N1 1 by alpha raised to 1, 1 by beta raised to 2, and 1 by gamma raised to minus 2. Hence we evaluate this equation. Alpha we take upward direction, alpha raised to minus 1, right? So N1 alpha raised to minus 1, beta raised to minus 2, and gamma raised to plus 2. Why gamma plus 2? If we take this gamma in the upward direction, right, we get the gamma raised to minus 1 raised to power minus 2. So minus 1 multiplied by minus 2, we get a plus 2. So in a new system of unit, N2 is equal to 4.2 alpha raised to minus 1, beta raised to minus 2, and gamma raised to 2. Hence we prove that. Now question number 4. Question number 4 is a theoretical type question and need to understand, right? Explain this statement clearly. To call a dimensional quantity large or a small is a meaningless without specifying a standard for the comparison, right? A physical quantity is to be say large or small is a meaningless without comparison with the other unit. In view of this, reframe the following statements whether necessary, right? First statement is atom is a very small object, right? Atom is a very small object, but if we compare with the help of the some other object, if we compare an atom with the other object, the atom are a very small object. So we correct this statement. Compared to the size of the other object, the atoms are a very small, right? A jet plane moves with the great speed, right? A jet plane is moving with the large speed, very high speed, right? But in comparison with other object, we need to compare with the some other object. So we modify this statement like this: a jet plane moves with the greater speed in comparison with the bus, in comparison with the bike, in comparison with the train, right? So we modify this statement: a speed of the jet plane is much more than a speed of the super fast train. A speed of the jet plane is greater than a speed of the car, right? Third statement is that a mass of the Jupiter is very large. A mass of the Jupiter is very large compared to the moon, compared to the other planets in the sky, right? So in the universe. So the we modify this statement: the mass of the Jupiter is very large compared to the mass of the Earth. A mass of the Jupiter is very large compared to the other planets, right? So now question number statement number E. A proton is a much more massive than an electron, right? A proton is a much more massive than electron. So what it means? The number of molecules in a air contains, right, very large number of molecules in air. If we consider in the atom consists of the proton, right, electron, neutron, right, all the things, right? So here the proton is more massive than electron. So this statement is correct because the proton mass of the proton is higher than the mass of the electron. So here the mass of the proton is compared with the mass of the electron. So this statement is a correct statement. We need not modify this statement because here the comparison is given proton and electron. Comparison of the mass of the proton and the mass of the electron is given to you. One question left, D part. The air inside this room contains a large number of molecules. A large number of molecules of the air contains in the room in comparison to the volume of the room, right? So number of molecules in the air contained in a room is a very large compared to the number of molecules in a 1 mole air. So we compare the number of molecules with the number of molecules in a 1 mole, right? Clear the statement D? Now statement E, a proton is a much more massive than an electron. So here the comparison of the proton and electron is given to you, right? So the mass of the proton is greater than the mass of the electron. So this statement is correct with the comparison to the other object. Now last one, the speed of the sound is much smaller than the speed of the light, right? Here we compare the speed of the sound with the speed of the light. The speed of the sound is a smaller than the speed of the light, right? So here comparison of the speed of the sound and the speed of the light, right? So this statement is also a correct statement. Understand, dear student? Question number 4, right? To represent the physical quantity large or small, we must have to specify a comparison with the other physical quantity. Now question number 5, a new unit of the length is chosen such that the speed of the light in a vacuum is a unity. The speed of the light in a vacuum is a unity, that means a 1. What is the distance between the sun and earth in terms of the new unit of light? Takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to cover this distance, right? So here in a new system of the unit, the speed of the light in a vacuum is considered as a unit, that means a 1. So dear student, here you know that the speed of the light in a vacuum, right, V is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. We take a C, right? We assume that the speed of the light in a vacuum is a C. Now in a new system of the unit, right, speed of the light is a unity, that means a 1. So the new unit of the speed is equal to 1 c, right? Now what is the formula of the speed? Speed is equal to distance divided by time. So from that we need to calculate the distance between the sun and earth in terms of the new unit. If the light takes the 8 minutes and 20 seconds to cover this distance, right? So distance is equal to speed into time. Speed 1c into time 8 minutes and 20 seconds. 8 minutes plus 20 seconds. 8 minutes is equal to 480 seconds plus 20 seconds. So 1c multiplied by 500 seconds. So we get the distance between the sun and earth is equal to 500 cs. So if you calculate with the 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter, we get the actual distance between sun and earth. It is a 1.5 into 10 raised to 11 meter, right? Now question number 6, important question for the JEE NEET examination, or as well as the question is important for the practical also. Which of the following is the most precise device for measuring a length? First device is given to you, right? A vernier calipers with the 20 division on the sliding scale. So question number 6 is, which of the following is the most precise device for the measuring length? First is a vernier calipers with the 20 division on the sliding scale. Second one is the a micrometer screw gauge of a pitch 1 mm and a 100 division on a circular scale. And third one is the an optical instrument that can measure the length within a wavelength of the light, right? So here, dear student, for the more precision, most precise reading, the least count of the measuring instrument should be as possible as low. કે જેનું least count ઓછો હશે એનું રીડિંગ તમારું કેવું હશે? મોસ્ટ પ્રિસાઇઝ રીડિંગ હશે. સો we need to calculate the least count of all the three instruments. First one is the vernier calipers, second one is the screw gauge, and third one is the optical instrument, right? So what is the least count of the instrument? The least count of the instrument is the smallest measurement that can measure by the measuring instrument, right? So we need to find the smallest measurement for all the instruments, right? So what is the least count? Understand, least count is the smallest measurement measured by the measuring instrument. So first one is the a vernier calipers with the 20 division on the sliding scale, right? So the least count of the vernier calipers, right, is the mean scale distance between the two mark on the mean scale reading divided by number of division, right? So least count of the vernier calipers is a distance between a two mark on the mean scale. એટલે first one is the mean scale reading divided by number of division. So here in the vernier calipers, the mean scale reading is a 1 millimeter divided by number of division is a 20. We get a 20. So 1 divided by 20, we get the 0.05 millimeter. It is a 0.005 centimeter. So first, a vernier calipers with the 20 division, the least count is a 0.005 centimeter, right? So the smallest measurement measured by the vernier calipers is a 0.005 centimeter. Now second one is the a screw gauge of a pitch 1 mm, that is the distance between a two mean scale division, and a 100 division on a circular scale. So the least count of the micrometer screw gauge is the mean scale reading is a 1 mm divided by number of division 100. So we get a 0.01 millimeter. So we get a 0.001 centimeter. So here the least count of the screw gauge is less than the least count of the vernier calipers. So with the help of the screw gauge, we measure the precise measurement for the length. And third one is the optical instrument that can measure the length within the wavelength of the light. So dear student, wavelength of the light lies between a 10 raised to minus 5 centimeter. So the least count of the optical instrument is a 0.0001 centimeter. So here the least count of the vernier calipers is greater than the least count of the vernier calipers is greater than the least count of the micrometer screw gauge, and least count of the both the vernier calipers and the micrometer screw gauge is greater than the least count of the optical instrument. So in all the instrument, the optical instrument has a least count, right? Optical instrument નું શું હશે? least count સૌથી ઓછું છે. So we can measure the precise length with the help of the optical instrument, right? Understand, dear student? Now exercise question number 2.7. A student measures the thickness of the human hair by looking at it through a microscope of a magnification 100, right? A student measures the thickness of the human hair, right, looking at the microscope which has a magnification of 100. he makes a 20 observation and finds that the average width of the hair in the field of view of the microscope is a 3.5 meter, right? So he observed the 20 observation, right? Make a 20 observation and find the average width of the human hair is about a 3.5 meter. What is the estimate on the thickness of the hair? What will be the width of the human hair? So here not a 3.5 meter, it's a 3.5 mm, right? So the average width of the human hair in the field of view of microscope is a 3.5 mm. So viewed width of the human hair is a 3.5 mm, but the magnification of the microscope is a 100. So what do you mean by the magnification? Magnification is equal to viewed width divided by the real width. So how we calculate the real width? The real width is equal to viewed width divided by magnification. So in the microscope of the magnification 100, we get the image of the 100 times greater than the size of the original image. So the magnification is equal to viewed width divided by real width. So that real width is equal to viewed width divided by magnification. So real width is equal to viewed width is a 3.5 mm. So we put a 3.5 divided by 100. We get the 3.5 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 2 mm. So the original width of the human hair is a 3.5 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 2 mm, or we can write like 0.0035 mm, right? So now question number 2.8 exercise question number 2.8. In that, three question is given to you. Answer the following question. A, you are given a thread and a meter scale. How will you estimate the diameter of the thread? So you are given to you one thread and a meter scale. Meter scale is not useful to measure the diameter of the thread. So how can you estimate the diameter of the thread? So here, how can you estimate the diameter of the thread? So given a string is wound on a pencil in such a way that the turns are very close to each other, tightly packed. We get the number of turns by measuring with the scale. Let the length of the loop is a L and let the number of loop is a N. So by measuring the number of turns, right, and the length of the loop, right, we get, let's say that the number of turns is a N and the length of the loop is a L. So the length of each turn is equal to the thickness of each turn. So we divide L divided by number of turns, we get the length of each turn, or we can say that the thickness of each turn. So the thickness will be equal to the diameter of the string, right? So first of all, we take a string, right, and string is wounded on a pencil such a way that the number of turns is very close to each other, and calculate the number of turns and the length of the loop, right, and by dividing the length of the loop by a number of turns we get the diameter of the string, right? First question. Now second question in a 2.8b. Answer the following question. B, a screw gauge has a pitch of a 1 mm. Pitch, that means a minimum least count of the screw gauge is given to you 1 millimeter and 200 divisions on the circular scale. So the circular scale has a 200 division. So from that, how we calculate the least count of the screw gauge? Pitch divided by the number of division in a circular scale, right? So here the pitch is a 1 mm and the number of division on a circular scale is a 200. So the least count of the screw gauge is a 1 divided by 200 mm. Now, do you think it is possible to increase the accuracy of the screw gauge arbitrarily by increasing the number of division on the circular scale? So, as the number of division on the circular scale is increases, the least count of the screw gauge is decreases, right? Hence, we can measure the more accurate reading, right? So accuracy can be increased. It is possible to increase the accuracy by increasing the number of turns on the circular scale, right? So by increasing the number of turns on a circular scale, the least count of the screw gauge will be decreased and hence the measurement will be more accurate. But one difficulty arising in the number of turns increasing in a circular scale. What difficulty? On the circular scale, it is difficult to form a large number of division which are at a equal distance. So there is some limitation up to of the screw gauge. So large number of turns are difficult which are at a equal distance, right? So if there are more number of division due to the limitation of resolution of eye, division cannot be seen. So as we increase the number of turns on the circular scale, right, our limitation of resolution of eye, we cannot see the number of division accurately and which creates the error in the measurement. So accuracy can be increased. It is possible to increase the accuracy of the screw gauge, but it has some difficulties. First difficulties is it is impossible or it is difficult to form a large number of division on a circular scale. And second difficulty is that as we increase the number of turns more, right, it beyonds the resolution of our eye, right? So we cannot see accurately the number of division. So there will be create some error in the measurement. Now, third question on the exercise 2.8. C. Answer the following. The mean diameter of the thin brass rod is to be measured by a vernier caliper. Right? The mean diameter of the thin brass rod is to be measured by a vernier calipers. Y is a set of 100 instruments of the diameter expected to yield a more reliable estimate than a set of 5 measurement only, right? So here dear student, why we take 100 measurements to estimate the diameter instead of the 5 measurements only? So when the physical quantity is measured, the random error will be produced in the measurement, and the random error may be a positive type or a negative type. So as we taking a number of measurement larger and larger, we get the accurate reading, right? So understand all the question answer explained in this video, right? Remaining questions we will explain in the next video.